Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Today, we are joined by Mike Joseph, a Chiefs fan. Sorry for you, buddy. And we're ripping a 2022 NFL mock draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. Mike, I'm going to kick it off to you because you're kind of the Chiefs fan, the Chiefs expert. What are we looking for maybe as we start this draft off?
For me, I'm going all in on defense. Any other core positions that need help, I'm looking for in free agency. I think young, fresh, athletic people on the defensive side is what they need. And if they need a third weapon on offense, they have the market to shop.
Yeah, and there are some decent wide receivers in free agency. Some other positions that maybe you address. Obviously, you're losing Orlando Brown, trying to figure that out, and Tyrann Mathieu in free agency. So you got two guys, pretty key contributors for the Chiefs in free agency, along with Melvin Ingram, who joined that team later in the season and provided some good juice off the edge. Picking 30, you guys are used to picking a little bit later than that normally. First guy who stands out at me is Tyler Linderbaum. That being said, you guys drafted a phenomenal center last year in Creed Humphrey from Oklahoma, so I don't know if that's necessarily a position of need. I really hope Tyler Linderbaum falls to us Buffalo Bills at 25. I think he's a phenomenal prospect. Do we get any wide receivers who are falling to us down here? Jahan Dotson's a guy that I think could be an interesting prospect for you guys to look for. He's got very good speed. He's 5'11", a phenomenal separator and great hands. I think he's all around very solid wide receiver. I have him number 6 on our prospect boards, and I have a late first round grade on him. Any other position groups, players that are jumping out at you as we make our first pick here?
Looking at what we've got on the board, I think the best pick is probably Kier Elm from Florida.
Yeah.
But I think of all the free agents we just mentioned from the Chiefs, I think they'll probably go all in on getting Tyrann Mathieu back. But if they weren't and they needed to fill a safety position,
from Penn State's also a good bet.
Yeah. But assuming that they're going to get Mathieu back, which I feel pretty confident about, I think they have the space to at least get him back. I don't know how the rest of it will shake out, but I think
Dax Hill would be a great target for you guys. I don't know if he'll go. He's actually 20th on my big board. I just finished up the top 20. Dax Hill played nickel for Michigan. He's very sticky in man coverage. That being said, most people are projecting him to play safety in the NFL. He's got phenomenal speed. He'll probably run one of the faster 40s at the combine.
Yeah, he's been trending up.
If we're going cornerback, I'm going Trent McDuffie. He's the number one cornerback, the left on the board I have. Trent McDuffie allowed – it was something crazy. I think on 37 pass attempts, he allowed only 11 catches for 16 yards this year. I mean, the production and, just the level of play out of Trent McDuffie's been phenomenal. Obviously a little smaller of a frame. I think he sits around 5'10", but phenomenal short area quickness. He's phenomenal in zone coverage versus more of a bigger bodied Kaiir Elam, who I just feel like his film hasn't been as good. Granted, he's playing in the SEC, kind of the best competition.
Yeah, you can never count out the SEC, but Trent McDuffie is also, he's got the numbers back it up and the tape. So
he has a tape. I think his tape is just absolutely phenomenal. We'll go Trent McDuffie. I think there's some good tackles that we could have looked at too. Nicholas Petit-Frere is a guy that I'm relatively low on if you guys are a friend of the channel. Bernie Ryman, if he's there, I think he's very well worth a look. He's kind of a Senior Bowl guy. He's down there at the Senior Bowl now. He's a converted tight end. Gives off big time Lane Johnson vibes. Lane Johnson also a transition tight end who's just a phenomenal athlete. Bernie Ryman's still filling out that frame a little bit. Here we go, picking at 62. Go back to the big board a little bit. Malik Willis.
Malik Willis still on the board in the late third.
I don't mind that at all. I'm not high on Malik Willis. Just
I'm not either. But all the mocks have him as first round, and some of them even have him first off the board, which is questionable. So
Draft
I know
committee.
he's like got the frame and the athleticism and the arm and everything, but he went to Liberty,
And he
you
and
know?
he went to Liberty and didn't put it on tape there. And you said,
Yeah,
"Oh,
exactly.
talent around him." Like he wasn't exactly playing the best talent either. And just like he puts the ball in harm's way all the time. Very inconsistent with his accuracy. There just wasn't a ton to get excited about.
He reminds me of Trey Lance, but Trey Lance had the tape to back it up, and Malik Willis, he's got tape, but it's not, not
Not
as good as
good.
Trey Lance's tape at the time.
Here's an interesting guy. It's your guy, Nick Bonito,
Nick Bonito.
who is a phenomenal pass rusher. One of the best pass rushers, all around pass rushers in the country. Just struggles a little bit in the run game. Could be worth a shot here. I mean, I know you guys are losing.
I think that's a steal at the end of the second round, Nick Bonito.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the big board, they don't need running back.
No.
And we just got a cornerback.
I'm a fan of Darian Kennard out of Kentucky. That being said, I don't see him playing tackle. I see him much more as a guard. He was 345. He weighed in at the Senior Bowl at 325, so it's good to see he's losing a little weight. But feet are absolutely stuck in the mud. I don't see him really succeeding at tackle in the NFL with some of those elite pass rushers. That being said, he did lose the weight, so I'm interested to see what he looks like at the Senior Bowl. And Arnold Abichetti, he's another edge guy I really like. Very interesting prospects between Nick Bonito and Arnold Abichetti. I think Nick Bonito obviously has those traits that are just really, really interesting, but Arnold Abichetti's probably put out the better film. I'm okay with going up and getting Nick Bonito here. I mean, you like him.
I had to go bias for Nick Bonito.
Let's go get Nick Bonito.
But I think he'll back it up.
I think so too.
Wherever he lands, he'll back it up.
I don't get why this guy is falling so much because he's not as good in the run game.
Malik Willis there would have been a steal for the Lions. They just got him first pick of the third round. That would be a huge steal for them. I know we were just kind of ripping on him, but if the Lions got him in the first pick of the third round, that'd be a steal.
Oh yeah, I would take if Malik Willis is still on the board at 20. Whenever their Lions have that second first round pick, I mean, I wouldn't because at the end of the day, if you don't have a quarterback, you just gotta keep swinging until you get a quarterback. And Malik Willis
exactly
has the traits to be very good. All right, here we go. Picking, wow, Jalen Petrie out of Baylor is legit. If you guys know by then, if you're getting Tyrann Mathieu back, I think Jalen Petrie is a really intriguing prospect if you don't get him back.
I think one more or the other, looking at their safeties, there's a drop off after Tyrann Mathieu. You guys won Thornhill on the other side. So I think if they could get a steal like him from Baylor in this round.
Yeah, I think it's a good value pick.
Whether if Matthew comes back, then great. Then they've got two weapons. One's a veteran and one's a rookie with a lot of potential. And then if Matthew leaves, then they've got a rookie with a lot of potential to fill the role.
And I think he really fits in with what your defense tries to do, which does try to kind of get after the quarterback a little. Jalen Petrie, I think I comp him more to Jamal Adams, whereas he hasn't shown elite coverage skills, but you put him around the line of scrimmage and he's an elite pass rusher. He gets in the backfield a lot. Dave Aranda certainly tried to do that at Baylor, and Jalen Petrie was really, really exciting to watch. I don't mind the pick. Let's go back to the big board, make sure we're not just completely missing on somebody. Wendell Robinson's one of my favorite prospects in the draft too, though.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you a little about Wendell. He's smaller, listed at 5'11" at Kentucky, but he transferred from Nebraska. And Nebraska is listed at 5'9". So apparently from last year to this year, he grew 2 inches. I don't know if that's just SEC football, you just grow up, or they're just boosting his numbers or boosting his height up a little bit. But primarily I see him as a slot guy, runs really good routes, has elite short area quickness. And the biggest thing is he's super tough. I mean, over the middle, what you want in a slot guy. Think about the elite slot guys we've seen, the Julian Edelmans, the Wes Welker, the Cole Beasleys. They're very tough over the middle. and they catch everything. And that's Wayne Robinson, super competitive guy who's going to make those hard catches. If you guys didn't get Nick Bonito, I'd be enticed by Isaiah Thomas too.
I know I was looking at that, but that's probably a bit of a reach at this pick, given the other prospects.
I would go safety here. I would go Jalen Petrie.
Yeah.
I think you have the right idea of you can go get another wide receiver in free agency. Jalen Petrie, I think, can be a really, really interesting, just kind of a utility guy in that defense. Kind of like what Dan Sorensen might have did, but just not horrible like Dan Sorensen.
Yeah,
Like
Sorensen was bad and needs to go. So
bad. Oh my god,
huge liability.
I don't even know how that dude sees the field. Like, you're the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't find somebody better to play football than him.
Yeah, if I'm the Chiefs, going back to the offensive thing, I'm going after. They're gonna have to make it work out financially, and I think it'll be okay given his age. But I think that Jarvis Landry would be a perfect fit for them as a third, like after Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, have like a true like
the Pringles and Pringle and Robinson are up on free agency, and McCole Hardman is just like not that good at football. He's just fast, and the thing is, I'm not stressing too much because Pat Mahomes will make it work with any, he'll make it work with any group in the league. So I'm not too worried about him in that offense making it work. You got to make sure you address that defense.
Yeah, the defense, I mean, they definitely, the second half of the season, the defense was way better and honestly was carrying the team at some point of the year. But, on paper, it's not a good defense. They're like in the 20s in all defensive categories. And then that was considered an improvement from previous seasons. So,
and again,
I think
your offense can be fine. When you have Pat Mahomes taking the snaps, your offense will be fine.
He'll find a way.
He'll find a way. Here's an interesting pick. I have two prospects that I really like. I want to talk a little bit about. Jamari Salyer out of Georgia. They got him listed at tackle here. I see him more as a guard. That being said, he played left tackle for the University of Georgia and won a national championship there. And he played good football. Like, the film of him at left tackle is really good. Do you worry about maybe a little bit about that length, which he did measure out 33-inch arms, so it's kind of that threshold. But just like the bend, the quickness, he's a little bit built like a brick house. Could see him struggling, but he's overall like a super solid prospect. I have him as my third overall interior offensive lineman, and I'd be pretty comfortable having him in top 10 as a tackle. I think he's one of those rare guys who he's a day one starter. Like, you're not gonna need to. He can come in. He's gonna come in and play for you guys. The other guy is Max Mitchell. He's a tackle out of Louisiana who graded the best tackle on PFF in the whole country. That being said, it was at Louisiana, a very weak conference. They're both going to the Senior Bowl, but you're really interested to see what Max Mitchell does. 300 pounds only, so he's got to fill out that frame a little bit. That being said, you want to see him do really well against some guys he's going to see on Sundays at the next level. We'll see how he does at the Senior Bowl this weekend. I think I'm going to sell you on Jamari Salyer here. I think
that's who I think. I mean, it's hard to argue against the best PFF grade, but like you said, it's Louisiana, so
go with the SEC guy.
I'm gonna go with the national champs, the Dogs.
Yep. And he just
that sounds like a steal at this pick, honestly.
I have him I have him as a late second round grade. Like, I love this dude, and you're getting him in the late fourth. Like, this guy's really good. He's getting slept on. I don't really know why. Derek Rosenthal's not a bad pick either, but I just think Jamari Salyer is like, the film's great, the pedigree's great, captain on a national championship winning football team. Like, go bring in a winner versus kind of a big question mark Max Mitchell guy who's a little bit more of a developmental guy. So I think that's a great fit for you. And you can also play, I think you'll be like a day one starter at guard too. So he doesn't work out of tackles and get very, very good guard. He played both positions at Georgia. No pick in the 5th round. I would have liked to got you guys Dontario Drummond.
Yeah.
I get like big time Deebo Samuel vibes from him. Like, 6 foot, 220-pound wide receiver with a thick lower half, kind of like what Debo can do. And I'm sure Andy Reid would find some phenomenal ways to get him the ball in space. So
Oh yeah, they love the pitch and run.
yeah, they do. And Dontae Drummond did that a lot at Ole Miss. Especially as Ole Miss got banged up. They were just trying to like get the ball in the playmaker's hands, and Dontae Drummond was one of those guys. Yeah, you guys don't have a 5th or a 6th round pick.
Yeah, I think we have 2 7ths. That might be wrong.
I got my eye on a guy right now. All right. Guys I'm thinking about that I can tell you about. Zach Tom. I took classes with him at Wake Forest. He's legitimately the smartest dude I've ever met. All right. He's like, took Latin with him. Kid was super quiet. There's like 15 of us in a little circle. He knew the answer every time. And when none of us knew the answer, professor would call on him and he'd just keep his head down and just like mumble the answer exactly right. Dude's like an absolute wizard. He's an all ACC academic guy, team captain, 5th-year senior for Wake, played tackle for 3 straight years, and played center his redshirt sophomore year. So it's like, he can do it all for you guys. And he was our best guy, so he kicked him out to tackle. And then the other guy is Vinny Gray, a cornerback who I think has a tremendously high ceiling. I know I'm a little homer there with the Wake Forest and Michigan prospects. That being said, Vinny Gray, super long. He's got good feet, and he mirrors receivers really well. The biggest knock on this kid's tape is that he is horrible at playing the ball. I mean, he'll either just like panic and like tackle a wide receiver, drop PI flag, or just not play the ball and let up a touchdown. Like he just panics when the ball's in the air. What that tells him, he's like, get some coaching in him.
Yeah, I think with these 2 options, if you go O-line and Zach Tom, you're thinking at this point, being the second O lineman we've taken.
Yeah.
At this point, we're thinking like long term because we've already got a lot of O-line guys, but also they're not, we're not going to have all those guys for, their contracts are all questionable. So, but I think they're committed to winning now, they should go with the guy from Michigan, a cornerback, then Vincent Gray.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't think you can go wrong with either.
I don't know if either of these guys play for you guys next year. I mean, we are picking them in the 7th.
Yeah,
round.
exactly.
Zach Tom's a guy that I will say is like a high character dude. 2-time team captain for them. Super he's a quiet guy, but he's a team leader. I was like lucky enough to like interact with him a decent amount. Whether it was like in the classroom or outside, he's like a good dude. So I'm a little biased to him. Like I just like think he's gonna be.
I mean, I think that sounds like a steal, honestly. Like you said, like neither of these guys are probably gonna play this year, and if they get an O lineman who's just gonna
get better.
At that point, yeah, you're just working out and improving. So
yeah, he's gonna be a smart dude. So let's go get him versus a Vinny Gray guy that, again, Michigan fan. I wish he came back for one more year because I think he's a guy who can go in day 2 if he puts together better film. Wanted to go get his money now. I don't blame him, but I think if he was a little bit more patient, that would have paid off for him. I don't know if we have another pick here. If we do, I'm kind of running out of prospects that I'm very familiar with. Watched a little.
Position-wise, I mean, they could use a linebacker.
50, we are picking. Linebacker? Oh, there's some linebackers that
there was somebody right at the top that was the Florida guy.
Yeah,
I don't know much about him, but I just
Jordan Anthony was a transfer from Michigan. Andrew Singleton, they are both stuck though. Chance Campbell's a guy that I think is an interesting prospect. He transferred from Maryland to Ole Miss, and I think he was the number 1 guy, or maybe Sam Williams, but I mean, Chance Campbell was a guy that made that Ole Miss defense work, and he was a stud in the middle. I think he was over 100 tackles on the year, kind of a tackling machine. Lacks like those physical traits that if you watch his film, not that I've watched too much film on him. I've watched a lot of Ole Miss football, so I've seen him a lot. He's never going to be like, oh my God, this guy's elite, like a Channing Tindall from Georgia. Like he flashes some crazy athleticism. That being said, there's something to be said for a guy who's a smart, tough linebacker who's a willing and reliable tackler. and I guarantee you he'll be good on special teams. That's where I'm leaning with this pick. Go back to the big board before you make the selection. See if I like any other sleepers. Jake Camarda is a sick punter, by the way.
I don't know anything about Caden Davis, but there's wide receiver on the top one, I guess, on the board. They definitely don't need a running back.
Dude, the wide receivers are tough. I mean, Jalen Naylor from from Michigan State and Tay Martin from Oklahoma State, I'm a little bit familiar with. Naylor, I think, is another guy who could have gone back to school. Tay Martin ran out. He was like 5th year there at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, Spencer Sanders.
See, these guys they could probably all get.
Yeah,
they might not even get drafted. So like,
I would
at this point,
Tay Martin, who I think is a little bit more of a possession receiver, versus like you don't have that really. Travis Kelce's your possession receiver, but like Tyreek Hill
exactly
more of a you want to get him in space. Either it's a big player kind of throwing behind the line of scrimmage. He's not necessarily great in those intermediate routes, although he makes it work too because he's very good. But like you look past those wide receivers, like McCole Hardman is not running like any elite wide receiver routes where he's winning in intermediate routes. He's just a fast speedster. You either get the ball to like behind the line of scrimmage and let him go run, or try to hit him with like a deep ball. I think Tay Martin could provide you a little bit of that like possession receiver value. That's probably who I would lean with. Britton Covey is interesting too. He spent 6 years at Utah, I think, maybe even 7. The best kick returner in the country. I think he's a decent wide receiver too. Ty Freifogel is a guy who just plummeted down draft boards because that team sucked. I would go Britton Covey here. I really would. It's a weird guy. I don't even know if you know him. If you watch Utah football, you might know him. You would know him. He's an elite returner, both punt and kick. Best one in the country. And I think he has value. He'll make your team as a returner. Like this guy's the best returner in the draft. The wide receiving is like he can do it. I don't know if he's gonna like get much playing time for you, much burn there, but
but if he's young, they can just develop and hopefully it'd be an improvement over what they have.
6. I'm gonna look up how old he is. This dude is old though. He's been at Utah for like a really long time.
Utah is honestly a very underrated 100%. Program.
We win a lot of money off Utah. Dude, this guy looks old. He's 24, so I guess he's not as old.
Okay.
But like
still pretty old though.
Yeah, he's been there for.
He's probably 2 years older than most.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend it with him. I think like when you're like late 7th round, like this guy's probably gonna make your team as a special teamer. So when you're thinking about just like, can we pick guys who are gonna make our 53 man at this point? I think he has a great shot at that.
Yeah.
Your overall haul. We go. I like our first 4 picks, and then we just have like a massive gap. We have 100 picks. Trent McDuffie, I have in my top 20 on my big board. I think that's a steal at 30 personally. I think he can be a good cornerback, whether he's in the slot or split out to the boundary. Really good in zone coverage. You worry about that long speed and the bigger frame. You just didn't see that at like what wide receiver is going to challenge him downfield with a big frame in the Pac-12. You just don't see it. So that's like kind of a question mark, but like the film he put out against the competition he had to play was phenomenal. Nick Bonito, Mike, you know him. He's a dog. I think he has a very good chance to be like one of the best pass rushers we see in this class. Jalen Petrie is an interesting guy from Baylor who I really think Spags is going to have a field day using, like putting him all over the field, disguising your pressures. How many? I should have looked this up before. I want to know how many sacks he had because I think it was like 8 at a safety.
Yeah, quite a bit for his position.
Exactly. And it's just like I really hope I'm just not like totally wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure he had like a decent amount of sacks his senior year. Only 3.5, but he had 18.5 tackles for a loss. So he does get into the backfield. 11 tackles for a loss in 2020. God, he's been there for a while too. 5th-year guy. I'm a fan of that pick. Worry a little bit about the ball skills.
I like that pick. Even with his, there's always potential when you have that size and athleticism like he has. So,
yeah, Jamar Salyer, rock solid. he's going to be a day one starter, I really think, where whoever picks him. He's so good. Zach Tom and Britton Covey, more developmental guys we're taking in the 7th round. But 2 guys who I think are going to make the team. Like Zach Tom is going to interview phenomenally. I don't know if he got invited to the combine. I don't think he's going to wow anybody. Definitely a little bit of a smaller frame. He doesn't have that big of a frame, but he's a good football player. First team All ACC guy. So I think Hall's pretty good.
Yeah, I love this draft, especially the top 4 picks.
Yeah,
I think we have an absolute steal and Nick Benito, and then Salyer from Georgia with our 4th pick. I think those 2 are great picks, and then Trent McDuffie and Jalen Petrie definitely have a lot of potential. They've got tape to back it up.
I think you have 3 day one starters there, which is rare. Nick Benito, I think, can start day one. Trent McDuffie and Jamari Salyer. Jalen Petrie, I don't necessarily. He's more of like a scheme guy. Like Spags is gonna go get him if like you think he'll fit your scheme, which I certainly think he's got a shot. And then you get 2 guys in the 7th round who I think will both make your 53-man. That's about all you can ask for out of 7th rounders. So
exactly.
Mike Joseph, appreciate you having us on as usual. We appreciate your help, and we'll be talking to everybody soon. Back to the draft content and position rankings. Peace, everybody. Thanks for listening.